So for a quick overview of what's in my bag, it's basically a painting that I made of a character called Sasuke Uchiha, a part of like this anime series called Naruto. And throughout the series, he has like this curse mark that's actually seen on the painting. And within the curse mark, it clouds his ability to be a true ninja for his community. And I felt like when I was painting it, I felt the same way. I felt like throughout the pandemic, there was certain difficulties in my life that clouded me from actually performing to the best of my ability in my professional and academic life. So for the purpose of this project and to help like the community, I came up with Disney's Next Mindful Creators. So to illustrate, I want to connect Disney's mission and how and the problem that I analyzed in the community. So first, Disney's mission is to create a world of belonging where each person feels seen, heard, and understood. A world in balance where people and wildlife thrive, a world filled with hope and promise. Explore our commitments and our work to create a better world through our stories, experiences, operations, and philanthropy. But there's one constant barrier that I observed throughout the community that downplays on creating a world of belonging where people feel seen, heard, and understood, which is mental illnesses, because mental illnesses affect a person's behavior, psychological state, decision-making, actions, and emotional disturbances. So how has mental health and or mental illnesses and poor mental health impacted youth specifically in this community? Well, personally, they've been affected by not being able to process their emotions or feelings, loss of motivation to attend school or to even turn in assignments, and there's been a spark in mental illnesses like anxiety disorders and depression. Socially, people don't have, or individuals don't have the competency to build relationships. They have lack of social awareness and difficulty in socializing. So personally, with my experience, I felt like I was dissociated from everybody. I felt like my conversations were forced most of the time. Like if the conversation was one-sided and I felt like what I was saying didn't make sense, or like I wasn't really feeling understood. I was really codependent on my relationships too. So that's another reason why like life became difficult. And then I also had increased panic attacks. But throughout this community, there has been a spark of mental illnesses where by 92.9% and 69.2% of illnesses got worse over time, and 90.9% were due to the inadequate resources in the community. So to illustrate some possible solutions for the alleviating mental illnesses in the community, psychotherapy would be one, because some advantages that come with it is that you have one-on-one communication with a therapist that's professional in the field. It's not like you're getting advice from a friend, and they actually know practices and strategies to uncover deeply rooted causes for mental illnesses. Also, some limitations is that it can become costly depending on like the number of sessions, as well as insurance coverage. And in this community, they have difficulty with covering co-pays and deductibles, even with insurance coverage. Finding a therapist is difficult too, to suit an individual's needs. So for example, I had a therapist that would only talk and didn't let me talk. And then I had another therapist where all she would do is listen, not really converse with me. So it's pretty difficult to find a therapist that suits your needs. Also, progression demonstrates after various sessions. Another possible solution is support groups. Some advantages is that people share the similar experiences and mental health issues as you. So when you're in a group, you feel more comfortable, but it also has some limitations because some may not feel comfortable, and it also becomes triggering. So support groups also may not have a proper curriculum in their like lesson plans and actual communication. So ultimately, I came up with the solution of social emotional learning and mindfulness, which strengthens external and internal health by strategies that work on social, emotional, and personal development. Some advantages is that it builds awareness in oneself and others. It fosters skills that help assess mental and emotional, the emotional state, and can be an independent or collective practice. So it depends on what you're ultimately comfortable with. So some limitations is that sometimes schools have this perception that it's only for academics and not really on building social emotional learning. Students, they have like this belief that students should learn from families and churches about their emotions and the best way to handle them. Social emotional learning embeds practices and philosophies that go against Judeo-Christianity ideology, and then social emotional learning may be a gateway to becoming LGBTQ+. And then for boys specifically, many in this society feel like they expressing their emotions is a sign of weakness. So to limit these problems, I would need a specialized training for staff from professionals and experts in social emotional mindfulness, or social emotional learning and mindfulness. The curriculum would be developed, personalized for individuals that encounter personal, social, and cultural altercations to the program, as well as the wants. It would be more Disney based, so lesson plans would be curated around like Disney characters. So for example, villains, Disney villains, so children would go through a lesson plan where villains can be seen through a more healthy lifestyle and how they could approach their difficulties in their certain movies or storyline. And then I had the opportunity to implement this in my community. And so what we did for social emotional learning was we handed out information as well as worksheets for emotional regulation and processing emotions. I handed out 19 worksheets that I also am going to get back. And then we handed out self-reflecting, or journals, and then had self-reflecting prompts for the journals as food for thought. And then my peers had the advantage of having affirmations and gratitude note cards to be distributed to the elderly and the veterans and people who are suffering from mental illnesses. And so potentially expressing gratitude and affirmations is a strategy of mindfulness. And so what's next? I want to be able to volunteer and engage with programs that share the same vision as I, because I want to expand social emotional learning and mindfulness to create a generation that is self-aware, can build relationships, and can build social awareness as well, to maintain a healthy lifestyle and have assets for their mental health and prosperity.